Sarah Peterson. Thanks for watching this episode of MLM Marketing Explosion. Your success depends totally on being able to make an emotional connection with somebody else and being able to turn a want into a need.
I've spent the last year and a half learning from the top earners in the industry, and now I'm putting my business plan into action. The question is, how will I do it without being a tech genius or having supermodel good looks? Join me and follow along as I learn, put into action, and share my journey. I am Sarah Peterson, and you're listening to MLM Marketing Explosion.
When my kids were little, they used to beg me for stuff, and I'm guessing that my kids are probably not the only kids on the planet to do that. But we'd get a store, and there would always be like the toy that they had to have, or the candy bar, or whatever it is, right? Use your imagination, you can fill in the blank. And in fact, I remember one time, I have one little kiddo that's really stubborn. He's actually my baby. And we were at the store one time when he was like 3. It was only me and him. My other kids were at school, and it was around Christmas time. That's about all I remember. But anyways, he decided there was a toy that he had to have, right? Now, my other kids, if I'd started to walk away, they would have followed, right? Mom! They probably would have been having a tantrum and crying, but they would have walked away, right? Not this kid. This is my child, too, that, kids are supposed to be programmed so that if you can stall them long enough, they go to bed and the next day they forget whatever they wanted, right? Also, not this child. So anyways, we're at the store. There's this toy that he wants. It's kind of close to Christmas. So there's this toy that he wants, and he decides he's going to have it. So he stands in the aisle. And he just stands there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I kind of walked around the corner. Now, he's little, but so I'm like watching around the corner where I can see him, but he can't really see me. And I'm waiting for him to walk around the corner and kind of look around and wonder where I am, right? Nothing. He stands there. And he stands there. And he stands there. And he stands there. It was not exaggerating, probably about 15 minutes that he just stood there, waiting for me to come back. So eventually I did come back. Luckily it was close to Christmas. It ended up in the cart, and when we got home and he kind of forgot about it, I wrapped it up and put it under the tree, for mom and dad, right? And they're so good at getting what they want, right? And so, like I said, you can fill in the blank. You can insert, your own experience there. But, my husband and I decided that we were going to nip that in the bud, right? So we decided that we wanted to give them a basic understanding of a need versus a want, right? And just a basic little understanding of money, right? So we decided that we were going to start making them pay for the things that they wanted that they previously begged for. Now, we did not give them allowance. They had to earn it, doing different jobs around the house or whatever, right? They didn't just automatically get money just because they happened to be alive on this planet, right? And it was really interesting as we put this in play to see their different personalities come out. It was almost impossible to motivate my daughter with money. She just didn't care. She's a reader. And so if there was a book coming out by one of her favorite authors, then she was all over the money and she wanted the money and she'd go spend the money. But if she earned, babysitting money or stuff like that, it just sat in her drawer. And then she'd wait till Christmas rolls around and she'd use it to buy Christmas presents for, her brothers, or if they begged hard enough, she'd just give them the money that she saved, let them borrow it, but never pay her back or whatever, right? That's just kind of how she was. Now, my youngest son, though, the one that was super determined at the store for that toy, he couldn't spend his money fast enough. Now, granted, part of that might have been that he was little at the time, but if he had money, he had to spend it. So if he had $1, we were driving down to the dollar store because he had to go get something and he had to have it today, right? But as my kids started to grow up a little bit, they began to realize that some items were more worthwhile purchases than others. Like, for example, there was one birthday that I remember one of my sons had this money and he ran out to go buy this action figure set or something, and he came home and it broke within a day or two. And he was so disappointed, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, because I tried to talk you out of it. I was afraid that was going to happen. I was afraid this wasn't going to be something that you were super excited about. I'm so sorry. And I felt horrid. And I almost, to that point, that I wanted to give him the money to replace, this crappy toy, right? But I didn't, because there's lessons to be learned there, right? He started to learn the value of money. He started to think through what he really wanted and what he didn't want to. And, the biggest thing that came out of all of this is that when my kids started paying for things, it eliminated a lot of the begging, because they now knew that, yeah, sure, you can buy it. You can buy whatever you want to, but I'm not buying it for you. You're going to buy it for you. Do you have the money? You can buy it, right? So then there'd be these things that they'd see at the store, and they're like, Mom, I've got to have this. And I'm like, perfect. Let's buy it. Where's your wallet? Oh, I don't really need it today. It was interesting to watch, that come into play because it was really easy for my kids to spend my money, but it was a totally different story when they actually had to pull out their own wallet. And adults are really no different than kids when it comes to making buying decisions. They justify things, they rationalize their purchases until the things that they want become a need and not just something that they want, right? So for example, if I merely want the latest phone with all the whistles and bells, I probably am not going to purchase it. It will just be something I dream about owning in the future, right? I can't justify that added expense. There's other stuff I'd rather have. The one that I have right now is just fine. I don't really need a better phone. However, I can turn the phone into a need if I want to, right? I can tell myself that I need it to be more productive in my business. It has more storage space so I can record more videos, takes clear pictures, it has a bigger screen so it's going to be easier for me to build my business, from anywhere on the planet, and on and on and on and on and on, right? And the more reasons that I come up with, the more that thing that I wanted switches from being just a want to being an absolute necessity, right? As soon as that happens, as soon as you cross over from that product or that service being a want and it crosses over into being a need, that's when you're going to buy it, right? You're going to rush out and you're going to buy it. And companies that are successful totally and completely understand that concept. So my dad has been wanting the iWatch for a little while, right? And he's been seeing all these ads for how awesome it is. I swear Apple knows. I know Apple knows because every single day they're sending him this new email about this iWatch, right? And it's just enough money that he cannot justify going out and buying it, right? Because then he has to explain to my mom why he bought this iWatch that wasn't really a need when, he could have spent it on something else, right? Like a cool vacation for the two of them. But anyways, so he started coming up with all these reasons why he needs this Apple iWatch. I can do these live videos and just push record on my, watch. I don't even have to be by the camera. That solves that problem, right? I don't even have to bring my phone. That solves that problem, right? Just all these different, I'll never be late again, whatever, right? So he went on this line, and every single time he adds a new thing to that list, he's getting closer and closer and closer to being able to just go out and buy that iWatch, right? And people make buying decisions based on an emotional response. Seriously, go to the nearby store, walk through the toy aisles. Have you guys done that? A lot of toys that I played with as a kid have been repackaged and they're being sold to a whole new generation of children. It's super kind of crazy. Like there was this dial-up phone, right? Like the old school, it's Fisher Price, I believe. But it's got like the old school rotary dial phone. You pull it, right? I had one as a little kid. They're back on the shelves. Are you kidding? I'm willing to bet 99 out of 100 kids don't even know what the heck this thing is, right? What is this? We don't have anything like this today. But here it is on the shelf next to all of these awesome toys that are totally filled with technology and whistles and bells and whatever. But here we are with this little pull toy that's the rotary dial phone. Really? Why in the world is that gonna be there? TV shows that I watched as a little kid are starting to be remade and, resurface on TV. The modern gaming systems, holy cow, I walk in when my kids are playing like, the Madden football or like FIFA soccer or something, and I have to stop and I ask my kids what the score is, and they're kind of chuckling under their breath going, Mom, this is a video game, right? And I'm going, oh, it's a video game. That's how good this technology is, right? Half the games I can't even play because I get motion sickness, right? And yet, what's resurfacing? We've got a Switch. You know what games we're buying for our Switch? Super Mario, Donkey Kong Jr. Why are we buying those? Why are we getting those games? They're so old school. I played those games on my Atari. There you go. That's why we're getting them. I played those games on my Atari system. I love those games. It's the stuff I grew up with. Those old classic TV shows, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Smurfs, whatever. I grew up watching those shows. I loved my childhood. So now all of a sudden these toys and games and things are starting to resurface, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I want my kids to have as awesome as a childhood as I did. I'm going to run out. I'm going to buy them those games and those toys because it's going to equate, right? How many times has Spider-Man been remade? Or Batman, right? Every single generation has a new version of it, right? Is it because there's no ideas left? Is it because the stuff that we grew up with as kids is better than what's out there now? It's not. There aren't new scripts being written. There totally are. But seriously, have you wondered why filmmakers are remaking all these classic movies over and over again? all of it's calculated around a desire to produce an emotional response in us, the buyer, right? So when my kid goes in there and he begs for this old school toy that I played with when I grew up, oh, you want that toy? Oh, that brings back memories. I used to play with that doll with Susie. She was my best friend. She'd come over. Oh, the adventures we had with that doll. Yes, I'll buy you that toy. No questions asked, right? You know, we get giddy with excitement over the thought of beating our kids at that classic video game, right? Yeah, you think you can play these new school games. There's no way you can conquer Donkey Kong. And that actually might be true. Donkey Kong's hard. I played that the other day. But you know what I mean? Why is that? Why do we feel that way? It's that emotional connection. We feel emotionally connected to it. It brings us back to that day. It's like that song Remembers When, right? Have you ever listened to that song? It's like, poof, instantly you're back wherever you were when you had that song and, you know, something happened that created that emotional connection. You know, we can vividly recall going to that movie as a child and having a great experience. So when the movie theater brings it back again in the newer vision, what do? Oh, we're going, right? The Saturday morning cartoons, as they're remaking those, I can totally remember sneaking downstairs as a little kid. We had the antenna. We didn't have anything fancy. In fact, my parents hated TV, so I grew up on like Little House on the Prairie, right? And in the Smurfs. And I'd sneak down on Saturdays because the cartoons were only on Saturdays. These kids are so spoiled nowadays. But I'd sneak down on Saturday mornings. I'd grab that bowl of cereal and I'd plop down in front of the TV to watch all of these Saturday morning cartoons, right? Don't bother me until the cartoons are gone, right? And, you know, we want our kids to have that same fond memory. We want them to have those experiences that we had. And maybe on some level, it's us recapturing our own childhood. You know, but what's really important to pay attention to is not what we're buying, right? It doesn't matter what we're buying. What matters is why we're buying it. In a nutshell, that's all that marketing is. Marketing is being able to look at what people are buying and figure out why they're buying it. Marketing is being able to put an offer in front of somebody and making it so irresistible that it becomes a need for that person and not just merely want. Because as soon as that person sees that product as a need instead of a want, they're going to buy it. There's no objections. There's no excuses. There isn't any of this, I got to talk to my spouse, or I got to see if I've got enough money, or I don't even know if I need it, right? As soon as it moves from being a need, or from being a want to being a need, sold. It's sold, right? Emotions are powerful. What are the consequences if this person doesn't purchase your product, right? That person has to be able to visualize that. What does my life look like if I don't buy this product? What does my life look like if I do buy this product, right? My family moved to Southern California when I was in high school, and we moved there from Utah. And I was super, super crazy excited about it. I moved there at the start of my sophomore year, 10th grade. And we were moving to the place that we went to on vacation to every single year. I mean, seriously, we were moving down to the beach. Before that, we'd gone once a year in October, and I love the beach. So I mean, really, life doesn't get any better than that. So when my parents said we're thinking about moving to California, I'm in. This is awesome. I'm in, right? But let me tell you a little bit. Moving from Utah, where it snows, to California, where it's this beach lifestyle and it's always perfect weather, was a little bit like moving to another planet. Everything was different. It was like culture shock. And I can remember showing up for the first day of school, and instead of the classes being in one big building, they were like in several small buildings. The lockers were outside. We ate lunch outside. Again, I was coming from a place that snowed. So, you know, it was like, this campus looked like a college campus. I felt so cool. But one of the biggest differences was the way that people dressed. I was living this beach lifestyle now, right? So I went home and we got there like the end of the summer. So it wasn't even like I had time to adjust. It was like we moved in, I went to school, right? And I remember that very first day I went home from school, and I looked at my parents and I said, I gotta have high top shoes. Now I'm probably dating myself, right? And I mean, like, these high top shoes were life or death. If I didn't have those shoes, then not only was I not gonna be the popular kid, I wasn't gonna have any friends at all. Yeah, so think about that for a second. I think that might have been marketing on its finest level, right? Kids are excellent marketers, and they don't even realize it. Heck, parents probably don't even recognize it half of the time, right? So nobody at school said anything about my shoes. Nobody at school said that I had to wear high top shoes. Nobody said that I, wasn't going to have friends if I didn't wear high top shoes. The marketing was so subtle. All I did that day was look around and see what everyone else was wearing. There was no billboard or poster telling me what the consequences would be if I didn't get some too. My brain filled that in for me, right? I'm sitting around, going high top, high top, high top, high top, high top, high top. And not only high top shoes, I wanted the bright pink laces. I knew exactly what these shoes were going to look like. And as far as an emotional response, well, my parents didn't want me to be the kids without any friends, right? They knew that we just moved to this new house and it was going to be challenging. And I'm at this new school. They wanted to give me things that other parents were giving their kids, right? So do you think they brought me the high top shoes with the hot pink laces? Heck yeah. You bet they did. They would have bought them for me even if they had just bought me brand new shoes the week before. And in fact, they probably did because that's what we did before school. They weren't concerned about that. They just knew that I needed these shoes, right? It was life or death. I was not going to school until I got those high top shoes with the hot pink laces, right? And if you want your product or service to be a need to the other person, you've got to make that emotional connection. And the only way to do that is to put yourself in their shoes, right? So what are the issues that your potential client is dealing with? What are they going through, right? My dad has a favorite barber, and he no longer lives down the street from the shop. In fact, he now lives over an hour away. And not even that, he actually lives in a whole state over, but he comes and visits me a lot, and I live an hour away, right? And now he still drives to go to this barber. Is it because he can't find anyone else that's that good, or probably even better? Why does he go out of his way to go there? I argue that it's not because this barber is absolutely the most amazing barber on the planet. Don't tell my dad I said that. But he seriously drives to go to this barber. We teased him for a while because they moved from Orange County down to San Diego, and they were going and buying light fixtures. Did he buy light fixtures in San Diego next to his new house? Nope. You guessed it. He and my mom would drive all the way up to Orange County to the light fixture store that they'd always been to. And I used to laugh hysterically at him. I thought, Dad, are you kidding? What are you thinking, right? What are you doing? And, what about you? Do you have a favorite shop that you go to, even though it's clear across town, and you could, in actuality, purchase that same item at the shop down the street, and maybe for even less money than you're paying to buy it across the town? Do you have a favorite gym or maybe a favorite restaurant? Why do you go there even though it would be more convenient to go somewhere else that's closer to your house? And like I said, are you willing to pay more for something just because of that experience that you get at that store as opposed to purchasing that product somewhere else for cheaper? It's that emotional connection. The employees know you when you walk in, right? They know the names of your kids. They know what you like and how you like it. It's familiar. It's a pleasant experience. You know what it's going to be like every single time you walk in the door. It's the way that going there makes you feel. It's not the product. It's about the experience. So you're going to go back again and again and again and again and again. Even if you're like my dad and you move out of state, you're going to find reasons to come back and squeeze that barber in, right? The people that work at these stores outvalue their competition. I have a favorite taco shop. I kind of can't believe that I'm going to admit this on here, right? For all eternity. But not only that, but confession time, right? These nachos are amazing. I think I could probably eat there every single day of the week. So they have these nachos that are out of the world. I'm serious. I can't. And we have Mexican food like crazy down here. I probably have 5 Mexican places that I could pick from within, 1 block of me. And so that's really saying something. But nothing beats these nachos. They've got carne asada meat cooked in front of me, and then they place it on top of these freshly fried tortilla tips, the melted cheese, and fresh guacamole, and the fresh pico de gallo, right? I think I might have to go run and get some when I'm off of here. Honestly, they are heaven on earth. In fact, it's kind of became a joke now that every time we climb in the car, my husband goes, all right, nachos today, right? But even more than that, and this is where it gets a little bit embarrassing, it's the employees. It's just the feeling when you walk in there. It's kind of this little hole-in-the-wall place, and it's always crowded, and I know exactly why it's crowded, because, well, it's the nachos, right? The nachos are amazing. But in addition to serving the best food anywhere on the planet, they remember everyone. So when you walk in, you just feel welcome. And, I walk in, and I'm seriously somewhat embarrassed to admit this, but I walk in, and every time I walk in there, the chef, the guy that makes my nachos, looks at me and grins and goes, nachos? Yeah, nachos. Those nachos get me every time, right? So, now that's one thing, right? Because you run into him at the store, he recognizes you, you recognize him. It's a place you see him all the time, right? So the other day, this is so awful. I really can't believe I'm admitting this. So the other day we're at the mall, and I'm walking around the mall, and I'm with my daughter, and this guy walks by with his family, with his little kids, and we both smile and wave at each other, say hi, and my daughter looks at me and she goes, who is that guy, Mom? Where do you know that guy from? And I was like, yeah, it's the nacho guy. That's the nacho guy. You've got a problem when he's no longer just the nacho guy, but he's like your friend that you see around town, right? And I mean, it's actually super crazy cool, isn't it? I mean, seriously, even if these nachos were not that great, I would probably keep going back there because their staff, the workers that work there, they've kind of become like friends, right? You go in and it's almost like Cheers where everybody knows your name, right? It's that customer service. It's that emotional connection. It's the way that they make you feel. They make you feel special when you walk in there. Oh, we're so glad you're back here for the nachos, right? It's slightly complicated stuff, the way it all works. There's a little bit of psychology involved. But the funny thing is you already do it naturally in real life, right? That nacho guy, when I walk in, doesn't think, okay, Sarah, nachos, awesome, this is what you look like, right? Now, he's not setting out as this marketing ploy. He doesn't own the place even. It's just that, I go there enough and we've created a friendship, we've talked, we smile, whatever, that all of a sudden it's just human nature, right? It's like when you see people around town and you just kind of start to know who they are, like, your favorite grocery store. I bet you that you know all of the people that work there, right? Hey, how's it going, right? It's just familiar. It's nice. Like I said, you do it naturally in real life. It's how you create friendships. It's how you create relationships. But then all of a sudden, you start building this business and you start marketing and you forget all that. You forget how to do it. And all of a sudden you become that girl that's buy this, buy that, or, the guy that's, you want to join me in this business, right? We forget how to make connections and we take that all out of it. And instead of creating reasons for the person to need to buy your thing, you just become spammy to the point that they unfriend you, they unfollow you, they tune you out, they run when you come down the street, right? Whereas if you just go about creating relationships and creating an emotional connection, people will follow you. I mean, I think one of the most, it really hit at a deep level. I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and this girl was talking about this miraculous weight loss that she'd had, right? And she was talking about how the only reason she was motivated enough to do it was that she was tired of going to the amusement parks and not being able to ride on the rides with her kids. That's powerful. I mean, can you make emotional connections like that? Are you the mom or the dad that's tired of staying in the back and not being in the pictures because you're too embarrassed on how you look? Hey, I know how that is. You start to tell stories and you start to make that emotional connection, and you can do that with any product. I mean, just like the nostalgia of me trying to beat my kids at Donkey Kong, I'm embarrassed to say I can't win. This was my game. I'm supposed to be able to win it. But you start to be able to create those emotional connections on an emotional level, and you start to create that relationship, and you start to become that expert, and you start to be the guy or gal that people come to because of the way you make them feel, because of this community that you're creating. They'll come back. They'll join your team. They're going to want to be part of what you're creating and what's so special. And like I said, you do it in real life all the time, but then all of a sudden you get online and you kind of forget. You start making comments that you'd never make in real life, or doing things that you'd never do in real life, right? You forget that you're a person talking to a person. You're not a human being anymore. And really, at the end of the day, that's all that marketing is. Marketing is you being a human being, creating a relationship with another human being, and it's a transfer of belief. I did something, you can do something too, and this is how. And this is why I know it, right? It's just creating friendships, and it's just creating relationships. And that's what turns people in from people that just follow you into loyal and raving fans who will come back and will come back and who will come back and want to be with you and are going to buy from you. And it's not going to feel like sales. It's just going to happen naturally because you set out to be a real person. Are you tired of bugging your family and friends and bumping into the same people all over social media trying to pitch your opportunity? If so, grab your team members and go to www.marketingexplosion.org and pick up your free copy of MLM Momentum. It's going to teach you how to get people coming to you and applying for your opportunity. It's also going to teach you how to get paid for prospecting. See you soon.